From the Badlands come the orcs and goblins, a green tide of brutal creatures that must be stopped.
Hey everyone, it's Peter Brown standing in for freelance writer Daniel Starkey for his review of Total War Warhammer. The Total War series has, until now, balanced historical realism with strategic play. Warhammer, however, has always been about tactics, and for more than 30 years, it's been one of the most popular fantasy settings around, with a rich lore and vibrant tournament scene for its tabletop miniature game. The mixture of the two in Total War Warhammer is a sight to behold. Not only is it one of the most faithful adaptations of Warhammer's mythos, it is also far and away the best Total War has ever been.
The Empire has ever been besieged by foes, but you are a Prince of Altdorf. Greatness runs in your very blood.
With the addition of irresponsibly large cannons, apparitions, gyrocopters, and powerful spells, the amount of time you need to spend learning what you and your foes can bring to bear on the battlefield is staggering. But these fights don't get old. Part of that comes from how distinct all of the main factions are. The Empire is a Roman-esque monolithic force. They are organized, effective generalists. Bretonnians, an Arthurian band of humans, uses Pegasi and Holy Lances to cleanse evil. Then the Greenskins pull from Warhammer's own brand of classic fantasy orcs and goblins. Silly, obnoxious, and bloodthirsty, they come with complex internal politics. If you're not waging enough war, measured by a stat called fightiness, other factions will sprout and make with the killing that you haven't. Vampire counts are a genuine undead faction. They bolster their lines by draining life from others and reviving the dead from massive battles. Dwarves are their opposite, with heavily armored and armed troops. They pull in staunch defenders that will hold a battle line long enough for their enemies to be ripped to shreds with machine guns and cannon fire. Each faction offers a bevy of gameplay options that mesh, and there's no one right way to play, but leaning into their strengths and mixing it up with the occasional oddball tactic works well. That's supported with magic, which can turn the tide of all kinds of fights. As a result, you're faced with a choice in how you protect the magic-wielding lords and maximize their potential without risking a loss. Campaigns throw even more variables into that mix. Like previous Total War games, you can take command of a country and balance your time managing economies, cultures, and individual battles. Here, things go from beautifully intricate to elaborate masterstroke. Each of the four major factions have their own campaigns with major battles, quests, and goals. Unlike previous Total War games where you'd have a smattering of small distinctions to separate each group, these races are truly distinct. Vampires are reviled by the living and have a hard time with diplomacy. To survive and remain stable, they have to poison and corrupt the land in front of them. Dwarves and greenskins can travel underground and have constructed settlements that only they can capture. Each of these pieces works together and helps texture the overarching narrative. At first, these races push their own petty agendas. But as the Game of Thronesy threat grows in the north, you can try to band together with the others and hold off the impending invasion. At the same time, you'll have proximal, race-dependent goals for victory, which strain how you'll manage these larger threats. As these campaigns progress, you'll have to manage multiple conflicts on many fronts, putting your skills to the test in a variety of ways. Total War Warhammer is an interlocking network of very smart decisions, and integrating the Warhammer universe with Total War's systems was the first. Massive battles are more challenging because of the addition of magic and flying units, and new brands of artillery and soldiers keep you changing up your approach. Total War Warhammer has also seen a massive upgrade to its AI. Where before you might see an AI opponent rush you when you had a strong defensive position, now the CPU will employ advanced flanking maneuvers, or use cavalry to pull away key defenders. The audio design too has picked up an interesting overhaul, and it's more noteworthy than ever because of the fantasy elements at play. We know what a Roman gladius striking a rawhide shield sounds like. We can create that sound here, in the real world. But what about a dwarven organ gun? What about the off-kilter shuffle of orcish armor? There's no proper equivalent, and that goes for the vampire counts, monstrosities, and the demons that form the ranks of warriors of chaos. In every case, these combatants sound glorious. The things that carry over from Total War II haven't just been improved, they've been damn near mastered. But my complaints from a few years ago with Total War II's camera still hold. When pulling the camera out to get a better view, you can't go very far before the game switches to a full overhead perspective. That can be somewhat troublesome and limit how much of any given battle you can see at once, but it's only a minor frustration. Total War has always been about balance between strategy and tactics, realism and engaging play. Warhammer's characters, its history, and its creativity is a shot in the arm for the series. You'll be tested on all fronts and asked to manage complex battles with broad but nuanced outcomes. Every system and piece feeds into others, and your choices make all of the difference. It's a triumph of real-time strategy design, and the best Total War has ever been.
War is upon us. It is unending.